Okay, so I think I'm live. Hopefully, the audio can actually pick me up. I'm also trying to just check my levels here. Hopefully, you guys can hear me well. I'm using a Blue Yeti mic, and yeah, this really is just a test drive on how to use OBS to start recording and stream live. But yeah, otherwise, aside from the delay, like it seems fine. But I guess the delay is fine in general. I mean, right now this stream is unlisted, so it doesn't really 100% matter. This is just for me. Um, I guess I don't know. I guess this will have to do for now. I was wondering if there was a way to actually record myself and like stick it in the corner, but I guess I'll figure that out for another time. I just wish that there was a way that I can monitor like audio levels and so on. Stream settings, stream health. Yeah, well, I guess I could go into the details later on figuring out recording settings because apparently I am below the recommended bit rate, a little over half. Oh, more than half, but yeah. Okay, I guess honestly that's fine for now. Uh, I guess I'll start getting into it. So I don't know if this is ever going to be seen, but if it is one day, I guess I should start by introducing myself. I'm Andy Laktuamani, and I am a visual effects and animation pipeline technical director. I'm still pretty decently early in my career, so the reason why I am, trying to start recording what I'm doing is for me to, I guess, keep track of what I've learned so far, and hopefully I can get to a point where I'm streaming regularly, and I built something of a following or community where we can, we can exchange ideas and I can learn more, and with any luck, maybe I'll be able to teach something to somebody else. So you never know. But for now, these videos are just for myself. I am, again, like I said, I'm just trying to keep track of my progress. So I currently work at Guru Studios, and that has been my first industry experience, and it's been a really great experience. I've gotten to work with a bunch of great people, uh, people who have definitely been in the industry a lot longer than I have, and have taught me a lot. But right now, the date is January 9th of 2025, and I will soon be stepping into the next phase of my career, which involves me going to a different company. Something that I kind of figured out during my time at Guru is what I guess I kind of want to specialize in. I guess going into Guru, uh, I mean, I had familiarity with certain DCCs like Maya, very limited experiences with Houdini, and pretty much no experience as of yet with Nuke. But during my time there, I kind of figured out that I I really like Houdini uh, as a DCC. I found it very what's the word I'm looking for? Well, I'd say that the possibilities in Houdini, uh, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of possibilities of things that you could do in Houdini, and I guess there's a saying that you don't necessarily have to be a programmer to use Houdini. However, myself being a programmer, having an education in software development, uh, it comes pretty naturally, and I think Houdini is what I want to start getting into more in terms of my career. So what I've done is I have decided that I would take on a project in my spare time to learn different things that I can do in Houdini and hopefully create something for a portfolio that I can start building. Generally speaking, it helped me in terms of job applications in the future. But that being said, this is for to achieve like my career goals, but also for personal enjoyment. This being able to create these kind of effects are really fun and really cool to learn about. So what I decided to do for my project is to create a short scene inspired by a anime that I used to watch as a child called Inuyasha. I'm a big fan of the series. I've watched it multiple times, and I love it. I think it's great. It's really fun. So let me for those who are not familiar with the show. So this is Inuyasha. He is a half demon who goes on adventures with this girl Kagome, who's traveled back in time to his era, which is feudal Japan. And together they go around Japan fighting various demons and other spiritual beings in an attempt to find the shards of the sacred jewel. And I'm getting a little in depth. I'm not very good at speaking, to be honest. But suffice it to say that it's a really fun show with a fair bit of action. Uh, and what I want to do is create a scene where with this character Inuyasha, where he fights a horde of demons using his sword, the Tetsutaiga. A really cool thing about this sword is that it's a demon sword originally made from the fang of his father. But then throughout the show, he ends up using his own fang to repair it, and he has to learn to be able to hone his own abilities for his own sake. And again, it's really cool. It's really cool. It's a really cool story. If you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend checking it out. But he uses his sword, and his sword has a lot of different uh, a lot of different powers that he's able to utilize. One of his famous moves is the Wind Scar, which is basically a blast of energy created by slashing through another demon's energy, basically. Uh, and yeah, the scene that I want to create, I want to basically have Inuyasha fight a big horde of demons where he uses the Wind Scar to essentially defeat them. Sounds simple enough, but there's a lot off the top of my head that I think that I'd have to put a lot of effort to just to make something that's like a minute long. The first thing is, well, firstly, again, this isn't really a project to showcase my animation skills necessarily, because I am not an animator. I would love to be able to learn more about animating, just for my own sake, but by trade, I'm not an animator. Um, so this project is really made to showcase what I can do in Houdini in terms of effects. Um, I wish I had it here, but what I did was I drew up a little storyboard that goes into what the scene can potentially look like. Uh, I wish I had a way to kind of showcase it. I have the storyboards on my iPad. If I just bring it up, I can at least for now describe it to you guys. Let's see. Yeah. So the idea is that you have Inuyasha just relaxing peacefully at night, practically sleeping in a tree, and he's all by himself. He's with his sword, and then something wakes him up in the distance. You see a horde of demons flying in the night sky past the moon, and this draws his attention. And by chance, one of the demons sees him, and they start rushing toward him. And as one goes, all the others come with it. And then you see their POV of them getting like rushing to Inuyasha, and you see his point of view, where you have a massive horde of demons just coming after him, and then you see him in various different shots and very epically unsheath his sword. So, really cool thing about his sword is that when he doesn't, basically unleash his power, it's just a regular sword. In fact, it's kind of a shitty sword. It's very dull. It's very old. But as soon as he unsheaths it, it turns into this giant sword, and very powerful sword, and it becomes very impressive. You can see a better shot, bit of a better shot here. Uh, and yeah, it just turns from this old janky sword into this powerful weapon. And in the scene, he unsheaths his sword, and as soon as that happens, the demons, they just start rushing just straight towards him with full force. And there's a bit of a what he does after he jumps towards them, and he's just whipping through them, like cutting them up and slicing them. Uh, there's a Let me see if I can show it on YouTube. There was a shot in one of the title openings for the show for, I think it's the fifth season, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's five. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's this one. Let me just turn the volume down because I guess copyright potentially. It's my first stream. I mean, like, who It's somewhere right here. Yeah, right here. By the way, all the openings for Inuyasha, they're great. So this is what I'm talking about right here. That shot there. Basically, the demons rush at him and then just goes and cuts him up. And then what happens, I guess, in the scene is that he gets knocked back by one of the demons, falls to the ground, and yeah, they all start to get closer and closer. And right where uh, they're within his range, he unleashes his famous move, his wind scar. And I guess I can show you here what that also looks like. Let's see. Throughout the show, he actually gains a lot of different attacks, not just the wind scar. It's his most like famous one, I guess you can say. But otherwise, yeah, he does gain more powerful moves. So let me see if I can. Oh yeah, this is his first actual use where he uses the wind scar consciously, anyways, or intentionally rather. He's fighting this great enemy that killed his father, who was one of the great dog demons of his time. And you can see right now Inuyasha is getting his ass kicked a little bit. And let's see. There we go. Wind Scar. So it's a very powerful move. And it leaves quite a bit of devastation. In this episode, he needs another move to actually defeat this enemy, but that's besides the point. I mean, the Wind Scar is a really cool move, and I think it can be very interesting to figure out how to showcase something like that in Houdini. And that's pretty much it in terms of the scene. You know, he destroys the demons, and he puts away his sword, and yeah, maybe you see him go back to sleep in the tree, and that's the end of the scene. So that being said, sorry, I just need to check a message real quick. So where was I? Yeah, so in terms of the complexity of what I'm attempting to achieve here, even though this is going to be a very short scene, there I can see a lot of things that I'm going to have to learn how to do in Houdini. One of the first things that I actually want to try to get into is hair. Figuring out. Okay, so if anything, let's break this down again. So let's start at the beginning of the scene. You have Inuyasha sleeping in the tree. Right there, there's I can see a few things that I have to learn how to do in Houdini in terms of simulating. The main thing is his hair. So, Inuyasha, if I search him up again, I need to learn how to create hair grooms in Houdini. And not only do that, I need to be able to attach a hair groom to an animated character and simulate the movement of his hair. So that's fun. Uh, and if we could take a look at his hair here, it's kind of divided up into kind of three or four parts. Well, you have the main bit of bush here in the front, his shaggy hair that has his bangs in the front here, very stylized, very cool. Then you also have these tails that come off pretty much off his sideburns and it flows down to his chest. And then you have his main head of hair in the back, which is very long. It goes down probably halfway down his back. Is very uh, voluptuous in terms of his hair. You know, there's a lot of volume. It's very wavy. It's straight. It's straight hair. His hair isn't necessarily curly as far as I can. At the most, I would say that his hair is wavy. Uh, so just to start off with, you know, in terms of his hair, I have to be able to, I guess, somewhat separate the grooms in a sense. It could all be in one groom, but I have to be able to separate these different areas because they will behave differently. You know, even in this pose, in this action pose, you can see his the back of his hair is very flowy, and the front of his hair, you never really see anything move except you know his the bangs that are coming out onto his forehead. And then you have the tails as well coming off his side. You know, they'll move also. I don't know if there's any other images here at least. Yeah, I mean you can see how his hair moves in some of these shots. You know, big jumps, and then you know his hair blows back quite a lot. So yeah, in terms of the Inuyasha character, uh, in terms of hair, anyways, you have the character's hair to start with. The other thing that I have to worry about in terms of hair is his sword. So it's actually really cool as he unsheaths his sword. Uh, on the how do you call it? On the top of the handle, it grows out a bunch of fur. I guess the intention is to be somewhat similar to a dog's fur, because Inuyasha and his father are dog demons. If that wasn't obvious from his ears. Which, by the way, I don't know if I'm really going to include the ears or not. I guess I have to. They're kind of iconic in the show. The first time Kagome meets him, she literally just pinches his ears. Um, yeah, you know his ears are gonna have they're dog ears, you know, so they're gonna have some amount of hair on them. So that's another thing I have to simulate. But yeah, getting back to his sword, yeah, as I figure out the design of this sword and how to stylize it, I have to figure out how to do its groom to showcase the dog fur on the top of the handle. So that's the first thing in terms of Inuyasha as a character. The other thing that I want to try to get into is being able to figure out clothing. You know, how to design clothing and being able to put it on a character and being able to simulate it. So you'll see what he's wearing. He's wearing his own kimono, which actually has its own story in the show. The what's it called? The robe or cloth of the fire rat. And it's really cool for him. It acts pretty much as armor in a sense, and yeah, I want to be able to throw this kind of look on the character, and as the character moves around and zips around, I want to be able to simulate the wind uh, blowing through because his clothes are generally a bit baggy. You can see around his legs, you know, you have some bagginess there, and then the sleeves are very dramatic, uh, very showy. But yeah, in terms of the Inuyasha character, uh, that's one I want to start off with. Okay. If I keep going through the scene, uh, I'm also going to have to figure out the environment. I know that there is going to be a tree, somewhat of a like an, an older tree, something that looks like Halloweeny, if anything, if that makes sense. I got to figure out what the I guess the background is, of this. What's the setting of this whole thing, where this battle is going to happen? I guess it would have to be in like a big open area or something like that. Uh, I don't know, cherry blossoms trees, in Yasha, in Japan in general, they have quite a bit of those. So I guess I'll have to figure that out as I actually start working on the scene itself. Let's see if I keep going through the scene. Again, you have those demons. Those are going to be, assets of their own. Nothing too complicated on the demons. I don't think. I don't think I want to put hair on them. And my dog is complaining a little bit. Just give me a quick minute. I'll be right back. How long have I been streaming so far? I've been streaming for, I think I started around 10:30, so about a half hour now. I think I want to, if I'm going to do this on a regular basis, I want to stream uh, for an hour, at most an hour and a half a day. Okay, hang on. I think he wants something else. I'll be right back. So my dog just needs to use the washroom. Coincidentally, his peep head is right next to my den. So sorry you have to hear that. Getting back to it. Yeah. Again, I think I only want to do this for an hour, at most an hour and a half a day, if I'm really gonna start doing this. Um, yeah. Okay. Let's see if I can try to get through this a little bit more quickly. Um, where was I? So demons. Yeah, I don't think I want to do anything too crazy complicated with them. In this case, the uglier the better. And again, in this situation, this is mostly just for a resume kind of situation. This isn't going to be like completely polished in terms of like final product. This is mostly for a portfolio situation. If the time ever comes, I might jump back into this project and try to, clean this up and make this, somewhat presentable. Well, I guess you know what I mean. It's like I just want to do this for a resume. So I mean, like something like this. If I can show you another example, Houdini demo reel. Where is it? There was an example I saw, and I kind of want to make it like this if I can find it. I think it was like Magic Reel or something. Maybe here. Maybe not this one. Something like this. Something like this. Hang on. Yeah, something like this. This character is very low poly. I guess in my situation, it would probably have to be a little bit more detailed. But generally speaking, yeah, I would have I'd be able to create these kind of simulations and effects, and that would be mostly the showcase. I guess I want to start getting into effects specifically in Houdini, or who knows? To be honest, maybe I'll find something in Houdini that I generally like a lot more. Maybe it is environment work. Maybe it is hair. Maybe it is something else. You never know. But anyways, getting back to the scene. So yeah, let's see. Sword. Oh yeah. So another thing is when he unsheaths his sword. You'll see it's right. No, maybe not like that. Oh my gosh, my dog will not stop bugging me. I think he wants me to get off, so I think I'll cut this off in like maybe 10 minutes. A little bit short today, but we'll see how we do next time. Maybe I can time it a little better. But yeah, as he unsheaths his sword, is kind of like an energy surge in a sense. As he takes it out of his sheath, it emits sparks, like glowing sparks, as he draws it. So I have to do, I guess, some sort of particle simulation there, being able to create those sparks. So that's something I have to look into. That I think I can manage pretty easily. So we'll see how that goes. As he slashes his sword, I guess there is, a bit of energy showcased in his cut. So if I go back to that, new Yasha opening 5. If I go back to this shot, you'll see as he swings his sword, there's like swishes of light. And that's definitely an anime stylized thing, but if I can figure out how to showcase that in this scene, that'd be really cool too. So let's see. And so yeah, in terms of his wind scar, that is going to be an interesting challenge because I need to figure out a way to be able to visualize that. And to do that, I'm going to have to look at a lot of reference, not only in Inuyasha, but in terms of a lot of different things as well. So I'll need to figure out that when he swings a sword, that streak of light or streak of energy. Let's see. Let's see. I'm just trying to find a good example of him using his wind scar. This is from the new show, the sequel show. I've only watched it once. Uh, it's okay, I guess. Inuyasha is not so much in it. I don't think he uses the wind scar here. I think he uses a different move. Oh yeah, look at that. He uses it. Not the best example, but I guess it illustrates my point. As he slashes it, first you'll see it's called the wind scar. So there is going to be a good amount of wind. It's wind that essentially creates the blast, right? So I need to be able to visualize wind, which it has been a struggle in a lot of different productions. You know, uh, first thing that comes to mind is the work in the Last Airbender movie, the M Night Shyamalan movie. Not the best use of airbending in terms of visualizing it, just because again, how do you really visualize it? I think in their situation, they mostly used dust to convey the movement of wind. What am I looking at? The Last Airbender trailer. This was the teaser. So let's see. I guess yeah, it's mostly dust that's conveying the wind. I guess like he emits like bursts of smoke, which I guess is generally fine. I think. I guess I have to do a little bit more research in how I want to be able to convey this. But the point I'm trying to make is like I mean the moves that he's doing here they should convey like wind whipping around him. That's what he should be controlling right now. You know what I mean? I never watched the show myself, but I definitely know that it's more well regarded in terms of its use of wind and so on. So yeah, I think the corridor crew uh, have gone to a little bit of more of analysis about just wind in general. So maybe I'll take a look at that to explore my options there. But that being said, it's not just the wind that I have to worry about. Where is it? Where you do it? Right here? Somewhere here. So wind. He swings it. Surge of energy. Um, Ground destruction. I gotta be able to figure out how to fracture the ground in front of him. And in a very specific way, too. A specific meaning that his you can tell right here. You can tell that he's been there because his attacks they leave these specific marks on the ground. I guess like it's kind of like a dog scratching at the earth in a sense. So I have to be able to destroy the ground in that way, and then also I got to be able to figure out how to destroy the demons as well, cut them up, slice them, and when he uses his sword and the wind scar, just to absolutely just shatter all of them and destroy them. Um, what else? I'm trying to think of other things that I have to be able to simulate. I feel like I wrote this down somewhere. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. I guess I have some other things listed here. Things like water and fire. Those I guess that has to do more with the environment, specifically water. Fire, I'm not sure where I can use fire, but who knows? Maybe I can get into it. Oh right, yeah. Here we go. I need to figure out. I got in terms of assets. I have to make trees. I have to make rocks, potentially grass, which luckily I know how to do from work because I've been implementing my studio's grass workflow, which has been a great pain to be honest. But I've been making progress there, and I definitely understand how that works a lot better now. Um, let's see, let's see, let's see. Yeah, I think that's mostly about it in terms of what I want to accomplish with this. Well, actually, aside from aside from the actual scene itself, what I really want to be able to learn and focus on is workflow. So I want to be able to implement or be able to use a USD, a Universal Scene Description workflow. Uh, just because that's where the industry is at this point. The industry is using USD for everything. It's a great way to be able to share different assets and different scenes. There's tons of advantages to creating a scene using USD. It's very organized, which is something that I really appreciate. So that's something that I definitely need to be able to focus on to be able to create this scene. Um, I want to try to implement this in like a staggered workflow uh, or a sequence based workflow, asset and sequence based workflow. So I guess I'd have my assets workflow where I create I create or gather the assets that I need. So characters, set dressing, locations, and so on. Props, his sword being the biggest one, and stuff and different stuff like that. Then in terms of a sequence workflow, um, to be honest, I was always kind of a little bit confused in terms of the use of previs in a sequence based workflow. I know in my studio we do have a previs stage of the workflow. Um, I've never really actually dived into it. I think we use it mostly just for organizational purposes, just to basically list what assets are going to be in the shot. And then at that point, or even just like a rough version of layout, then we actually have the actual layout stage, which I want to be able to do. Again, I want to do this as properly as I can. So I'll have a layout phase where I lay out the different assets and block them out. Be able to block out the shots with different cameras potentially. I think so. Um, then I go into the animation phase where I actually go in and properly animate all of the characters, which that in and of itself is going to be a task because, again, like I said, I'm not an animator. Uh, and then yeah, I want to be able to go into effects and character effects, and then lighting, and then gotta render all this stuff out, and then I gotta composite the different passes, and then potentially color grade the thing. And not to mention that I want to be able to use different DCCs to be able to achieve this. So definitely Maya for definitely Maya for animation. Maya is definitely going to be the best toolkit uh, in order to make the scene come alive. And again, it is the industry standard, so I have to be able to use Maya more. And then Houdini for the effects in the scene, obviously. Potentially, I might even use Houdini for the layout or phase as well, just because I really do like and appreciate how Houdini implements USD. Maya is kind of it's a little bit of a mess, to be honest, uh, and their implementation is kind of staggered as they're continuing to add support for USD and Maya. So might as well just keep use Maya for what's good at, you know, and use Houdini what's good at for as well. And then yeah, use other various DCCs where I can for compositing and color grading. While I would eventually like to get into Nuke more, I think I'm going to have to stick with what I know. I think DaVinci Resolve is going to be my best bet. As far as I'm aware, their USD support is pretty decent, and their uh, color rating suite is kind of unmatched in the industry. So and I've been trained quite decently a bit in the color grading in Houdini or DaVinci Resolve. So that'll be nice to utilize. Compositing, I would have liked to do in Nuke, but again, just for the sake of my own sanity, I think DaVinci Resolve can get the job done. I think it can work. So yeah, USD. I want to be able to implement use that technology. ASIS color, ASIS and OCIO color management. I want to be able to utilize as well. Just be able to get everything looking right in terms of colors, and especially when I render it out, I want to be able to render it out in different color spaces depending on uh, where I want to output to, whether it's in Rec 709 or 2020, or if I want to blow it up for a theater. Who knows? Who knows? Actually, maybe I might. Maybe probably not, to be honest. But who knows? You never know. Sorry, I'm just sending a message. And yeah, I think that kind of pretty much covers everything in terms of the extent of what I want to try to do. I don't think I'm going to get into it much today, just because it's been a long day and I'm tired. But what I want to really start going into as of right now, I'm calling this project Project Tetsaiga, which is, again, Inuyasha's sword. What I really want to start off with is a bit of an R&D phase, because again, I have no idea how to do most of this stuff, and I'm learning on the fly. So what I'm starting off with is being able to do hair. I've already started working on a groom based off of this video here provided by Rebel Way. Houdini hair Rebel Way. Oh, oh yeah, I did. So this tutorial was provided by Rebel Way. I think their own education program that offers tutorials and classes on various topics in VFX, mainly in Houdini, as far as I'm aware. But I could be wrong about that. But this artist, Linda Ducine, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. She created this really great tutorial that I was able to actually watch and go through, where she made this, I guess, shagged rug in Houdini using a procedural workflow. And it's really cool, and I want to be able to give it a shot. So I'll just open up my Houdini scene quickly. And again, I think I'm just gonna briefly brush through this really quickly. I think I'm gonna hop off soon. According to OBS, I've been streaming for about 15 minutes, so I'm coming up on an hour anyways. So yeah. Cool. Okay. So if I jump up to the OBJ level here, I realize now that you guys probably aren't going to be able to. Can I zoom in or something? No, no, I can't. Oh, wait. There we go. Let's not do that again. Yeah, I have to figure out the controls for OBS a bit better because I want to be able to zoom in, show where I'm clicking and so on. Again, if this works out, I want to be able to hopefully teach somebody from my successes and mistakes. So yeah. So anyways, again, you're probably not going to be able to see this unless I zoom in here. But what I've done is set up two different things here based on the tutorial again. So the first thing is the head geometry, which I was just able to just bring in a test geometry that's provided by Houdini itself. You just hit tab and you type in test, and you see you have a bunch of test objects that you can bring into the scene, and they have a where is it a template head, which I thought would be great to start figuring out a groom. So what I've done is use this poly extrude node to extrude the shape a bit more, because what we have to do, according to the tutorial, is create this VDB object, or create a VDB out of the geometry. So in order to do that, I need to be able to have an extruded polygon. So I've done that. So from my understanding, VDBs are just objects created using voxels, which are basically three-dimensional pixels. And from my understanding, this will be used by the hair generator or something in the hair subnetwork to use for stuff like collision, for example. So that's why I have to create this VDB object out of the polygons, and I have a null node here just to output that out and target. And this node is just going to directly output the original head. Sorry. And now I have this guide groom uh, container or node or subnet. And there's a couple of different sections here where I guess I can go into detail more next time. Uh, but yeah, you have these various inputs into the node. And yeah, the main thing that we're using here is the skin input, and that brings in the head geometry. And what I'm doing here is I'm just what I'm doing is just blasting away the rest of the head that's unnecessary for the groom. And what these nodes are doing here is putting various attribute masks onto the head, so to define different things, density, the and terms of being able to show where hair should be grown onto. And different things too, length maps. You have a lift map and something that defines the bend. And then you have this situation here, which, to be honest, I think I'll get into on the next stream. And yeah, but it's mostly here that the bulk of the work is done. This keep in mind that this is only the setup to create the groom guide hairs, not the actual hair itself. So I'm still working on that, and I think I've been making some progress, if I do say so myself. So this is what the current groom looks like now in terms of the guide curves. I definitely still have to keep working on this. It's not perfect, but you can see I have the different areas of his hair. You got the front bushy bit and the long bulk of his hair here, and then you can very subtly see the tails on the side, which again I do have to fix up again. This is just I'm just starting to learn all this stuff. But yeah, it's a work in progress, and hopefully I can showcase this work on the streams. So yeah, we will pick it up next time, and I guess I'm going to call it a day for now. Thanks for watching. If this ever makes it out to anyone, I'll see you next time.